100 North Holiday Street and on Microsoft Teams. We'll call the meeting to order and let you know that all participants in the public session of the board meeting acknowledge and consent to the video and audio recording of the public session and the publication of the recording of the board's website and social media accounts. Now, per the Open Meetings Act, the board discloses that it adjourned its virtual open meeting on January 8th, 2025 to enter administrative session at approximately 2:54 p.m. 3 board members were present and members discussed administrative matters, including complaints. The board also needs to let you know that we might need to close some or all of this meeting today to preserve the confidentiality mandated by the Ethics Code or is otherwise authorized by the State Open Meetings Act. And upon adjournment of the open session, the board may reconvene for an administrative session to discuss non-public administration functions of the board. Thank you and good afternoon, staff, members.
Good afternoon.
All right, guests. And we need to know if there are any schedule conflicts this afternoon.
I do have a hard stop at 4.
I'm always a fan of that.
Yeah,
All right,
I also
Arnold?
would like to stop at 4.
You got it, Arnold? Let's stop at 4.
I'm good, thank you. I'm good.
All right.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah.
So that having been said, let's take a look at the minutes of the public session of January 28th, 2025 for approval. I looked at them yesterday and I think they're great. I mean, we had a discussion at one point about, what the minutes should say. This says everything. And I'm comfortable with it. I didn't see any corrections or suggested edits. Anyone else?
I'm silent because I wasn't.
That's right. Okay. So yeah, we'll just have the 3 members, Arnold and John and I, go ahead and vote on this.
I move to approve the minutes of the open session of the meeting of the board from last month.
All in favor?
Arnold?
I'm all
Arnold,
in favor? Aye.
You got to second it, Arnold?
Second, sorry.
I'll take that as a second. All right. All in favor of the public session minutes of February 12th, 2025, signify by saying aye.
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 That's
Aye.
3-0. Yeah. All right. And let's turn this over to our great staff.
Let me start with that, just a brief update on some of the major points from the last month. The financial disclosure deadline for elected officials was on January 30th. And I'm happy to say everyone filed timely. It was a concerted effort by our ethics staff, and special thanks to Council President Cohen and my colleague down in the City Council, Aaron de Graffenried, who greatly assisted in having everyone through the door, so to say, in a timely fashion. The next point there will be a carryover to the administrative part of the meeting. We were made aware that several new employees had not filed their entry statements within the required 30 days. Entry statement is identical with the annual financial disclosure, just that the new employee has to file it covering the information that it is covering is the calendar year prior to hiring. Those employees were contacted and put on notice on January 10 and eventually filed. As you may recall, the ethics law farms out or tasks the responsibilities out to the HR departments of the individual agencies who are by the law instructed to inform the new employees, among other things, of their ethics requirements. Ethics is not part of the hiring process, and we're also up to this point not informed about new hires as they come on board. I spoke to several HR managers, including at the mayor's office, and it would appear that the required information may not have been uniformly communicated or was insufficiently emphasized. I have met with Baltimore City Human Resources Director Herbert to make the ethics requirements a highly visible part of the onboarding package and to supplement proper information in the various training courses that the new hires have to go through, one of which is, of course, the ethics training, which includes all the requirements for filing entry statements. I've also set up several meetings with individual agencies, HR departments, and been promised a slot in one of the upcoming HR professional newsletters that apparently they issue within City Hall to all the HR departments. I hope to be able to use this opportunity to also improve the city's Workday HR platform, so we can so the new employees and old employees get immediately identified if they are required to file right at the root, and so then we can set up an appropriate email gauntlet or reminder process. Also should streamline the research process that we undergo every year to compile a list of all the employees who are required to file. And so I've also, I'm now getting a summary of all new hires for the month. Last month was 295, so it is somewhat daunting considering they're all jumbled with people who need to file and people who are not required to file. But so that is most of the staff matters that we had. Nahshon, would you have the numbers?
You want to give it a shot, Anitra?
All right.
Okay. For our help desk, we had 62 help desk requests that were received and resolved by the board staff in January. 13 help desk requests were from lobbyists. 1 help desk request were concerning gift solicitation waivers. 23 help desk requests were concerning financial disclosures. 18 help desk requests were ethics inquiries. 1 help desk request were concerning ethics training. 5 help desk requests were administrative. 1 help desk request was not within the board's jurisdiction. For the full year of 2025, we have 327 total for help desk. For the month of January, 40 people completed their ethics training, bringing a total to 249. For lobbying, so far this year, we have 97 registered lobbyists. The annual lobbying report deadline had been extended to February the 5th, 2025 due to a minor issue for some users. However, BCIT was able to assist and implement a fix. For our complaints for the full year of 25, we had 8 complaints, 2 open, 6 were dismissed. We received 0 new complaints in January. We don't have any secondary employment waivers at this time. For our gift solicitation waivers, we have 1 gift solicitation waiver application was submitted before the board for the February 12th, 2025 board meeting. 0 gift solicitation waivers have expired since the last board meeting. For our full year, we have 22 active waivers. For financial disclosure, it is financial disclosure season. Ethics staff assisted elected officials with weekly reminders during the month of January to file their financial disclosures and remind them that of the January 31st, 2025 deadline. All elected officials timely filed their financial disclosure statements. Ethics staff will send a reminder email to all agencies and board contacts on March the 10th. Individualized reminders will be sent to all required filers starting March the 17th and will commence weekly beginning April the 1st, 2025. Reminding of the financial disclosure deadline. of April the 30th, 2025.
Thank you very
That-
much.
Yeah, that's a lot of metrics, Ms. Moore. So I was looking at the minutes from last month just to see how they compared. But yeah, it definitely is the disclosure season. So I'm sure we'll see that number popping up. All right. Chris, anything else on the staff side?
I think that was it.
All right. Do we have any old business?
Oh.
I didn't think so. All right. Well, that'll take us to our new business. Do we have anyone here on behalf of the Mayor's Back to School Rally solicitation waiver?
Yes. Hi, good afternoon. I'm Janelle Penny, Chief of Staff, the Mayor's
Yes.
Office of Children and Family Success. I'm also joined by our Chief of Policy and Partnership, Ariel Giles.
All right. Thank you, Chiefs. Let me take a look at the application. This is something that's been approved before and before and before, right? And the name is massively familiar.
Yes, we
Yeah.
have, we do them annually, yes.
Right. And okay, so what I thought so, but what I feel like is, did the amounts to be raised change? Because it seems like it may have grown.
Yes, so this year we are applying for a multi-year waiver. And so the amounts are just upgraded to reflect the multiple years
Okay.
over that time, yes.
All right, yeah, I guess every year you would do it annually, and it just, you're not thinking of a $500,000 back to school rally.
No,
It would
no,
be-
not once, no.
Yeah, it would be a heck of a rally. So, all right, good. And everything is funneled through the civic fund, or no?
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
yes.
All right, yeah, this is a well-known event. What was the reason you decided that you wanted to kind of keep it an ongoing event, or keep it an ongoing account, for example?
Well, definitely because it is annual, we already know that it's coming, and so we just want more flexibility to start earlier with the fundraising because it's it's a known and marketed event. We also are trying to think through more strategies around our engagement to solicit donations, and so we want to just have more timing and flexibility to do that throughout the year.
That's fair enough. Members, any discussion, questions for our chiefs of staff?
Sounds good.
No questions here.
No questions here.
Well, that was
I'm sorry. I couldn't
oh.
get my mute off fast enough. I do have a question.
Uh-huh.
So I'm looking at the application, Ms. Penny. I see it's for the year 25 for September, I'm assuming. So 26th, 27th, and 28th years.
Yes, so we're doing it through the mayor's second term.
Okay. And do you have an estimate of how much you were looking to budget for the event yearly?
I don't have an exact number. We do for this for back to school, we do partially use some of our agency funds, and then additional funds that we receive from donations are what's used to top up for it. So the budget is based on whatever we get from donations, but we do have a selected amount from our own agency funds that we use for this program as well.
Okay, so your estimate is that approximately 150 to 500 will last you through fall 2028.
I believe was it through 2029? Sorry, I'm trying to pull up the document as well.
I see August 31st, 2029. So yes, through
Yes,
2029. Okay. All right. I don't have any further questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions or discussion?
I guess my only question is whether I understand the reason for the multi-year approval period. That seems to make sense. I just not having received one of these before, at least in my tenure, for a multi-year approval, I'm just going to pose the question whether this is something that has been done before, and whether there's anything in the in the code of ethics that would preclude an approval for such an extended period of time.
I think I
It
know,
does,
but I
go ahead.
want to refer to Chris because they're the ones who actually administer the. Chris,
You're on mute, Chris.
Pressing the wrong microphone. Let me just do a quick search here. I don't believe there is a time limit that would apply here. So provision of choice is covered by Board Regulation 06.26.2. These do not apply. Okay. No, that's correct. I don't believe there is a time limit on the duration of the waiver itself, and I will have to get deeper into this. But you know, for practical reasons, I think the time should be relatively. I mean, it should not be excessive. I mean, I would hesitate to promote waivers that cover half a decade or I'd say 2 or 3 years may be reasonable for a recurring event that has a long tradition and long standing. But again, I will take a moment and read up on this if there's actually a limitation in the law that I could not pull up right here with the law in front of me.
yeah.
So I may suggest that the board may select a reasonable time frame here and then perhaps approve the waiver application contingent on further research if this is permissible under the ethics law.
I highly prefer that approach.
Which approach is that, Steve?
It would be that we could further discuss it, but that we bring it to a vote today, conditioned upon any issues that may be uncovered with the ethics code and any potential violations. And one of the reasons is I'm supportive of this is, you have agency requests, you have solicitation. People do wait too late. And then they're like, oh, we got to throw this on the agenda for the ethics board on the Wednesday meeting, the day before, because they're so close-ended. You're doing the same reporting and subject to being required to file amendments if anything changes with these waivers and with this fundraising. So quite frankly, I think it'd be more efficient so that you can have some continuity there. But again, it's all subject to reporting and reporting amendments to the ethics board. And so
Heritage Hyundai Latrobe.
To me, it doesn't give them like an unlimited leash, to a waiver applicant. And it does seem more efficient. So I'd be in favor of approving it subject to having.
I would like to see about considering reducing the amount of time. So I understand a multi-year, and I understand the purpose is exactly what you said, Steve, not to have to be up against the wire. But 5 years and so much can change that it may be worth reviewing. If not, reducing the amount of time, maybe putting in a review, because you could, and especially in terms of reporting as to who is soliciting, right?
I mean, the reports are due every 3 months, but I would agree. I mean, 5 years is a long time in city politics and city general staffing.
Has this already been approved by estimates?
So this has been approved for the BOE agenda for the 19th, next week, Wednesday. But it has received approvals from audits and yes, to recommend it for approval by BOE, but it's on the 19th agenda.
Yeah, I mean, how do you feel about our discussion? Just out of curiosity. I mean,
I definitely understand.
we can do here.
I definitely understand, and I'm not so familiar with the Board of Ethics, so but I understand that you have your laws and your processes. So we are definitely putting this forward, of course, as you've already stated, for our ease, because this is the annual event, and since we are under the mayor's administration for the next 4 years, so we wanted it to match his administration. But we are obviously going to take our cue from you and follow with whatever you deem appropriate.
You guys are great. We appreciate what you're doing. All right. I guess does the board want to continue discussion on this? Do we want to send it? I mean, because this is a long request and we're not going back to school, at least for a few months minimum. Well, we're going back to school tomorrow because city schools closed today. So, I mean, would it kill you guys if we asked to consider this at our next public session?
Is that for March?
Yes.
That is the next date for March.
You want it? Yeah.
So if we were to do an amended to do possibly 2 years or 3 years, would that be a more acceptable time frame?
I
For me.
think perfectly reasonable, but I'm one of four. So
I guess my take is 2 years does seem better in the sense that, notwithstanding the amended reporting and amendments that have to be by law submitted if anything changes, I do think there's a value in having some kind of a check-in to see how things are going. I mean, something comes up and somebody, I don't know, there's all sorts of things that can happen in 4.5 years that would suggest that maybe that's a long time. I'm not sure if we've ever done this before. I'd be more comfortable with a 2-year approval in deference to the need to get the fundraising done and the efficiency that Steve talked about. 2 years would feel a little better to me. I'm not saying I would vote against 4 or 4.5 or whatever it is now. But if 2 feels better, I know it feels better to me, and I think it might feel better to Noelle based on her comments. I think that might be a better way to go. But again, I don't feel like this is the hill I want to die on. But it does seem like a kind of a check-in every once in a while, more than every 5 years would be appropriate.
Ms. Penny, do you have a problem making the modification to 2 years?
We are very agreeable to that. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. I think that based on the comments made, 2 years might be the magic number in terms of the limits of our comfort, and it would just keep. The role here is just to make sure the city doesn't look like it's doing things that are capricious or too open to allow for some movements that would not be in the public interest and violate the ethics law. So would say we'll give you a decision when our chairperson decides that it's the right time. But right now, it sounds a lot like 2 years might be the magic number that we would be able to comfortably ratify. And so if you'll just give us a minute or give us the time to arrive at that, it'll be a wonderful thing.
Yeah, this shouldn't take too long. How do you feel about 2 years? Is that going to be injurious to you?
No, I think that 2 years is still, it still allows us to meet the needs that we have, and we're fine to move forward with 2 years, and we can make the proper changes and amendments to the waiver application and resubmit it for the 2
And,
years.
and yeah, so hearing that, board members, we feel that we could support the 2 year, and I think 2 years has been done many, many times. I'm actually going through the code as we speak, and I don't think there's anything in here that is a cap. But I also believe that there have been many 2 year projects, and so it certainly
I'm
be the precedent.
I think
Yeah.
we're comfortable with 2 years. If you're ready to give a motion,
Go ahead. I'm
pending
waiting.
the amendment. Okay, so in reference to the request on the table, pending the amendment of reducing the time for the multi-year solicitation waiver, and the amendment will be given before the next hearing of
Yes.
March. Okay, pending that
Apologies.
amendment, I'm requesting to present to the board approval.
Second, if that was a motion.
Yes, I
Second,
move forward.
All right, so this will be conditional approval upon an amendment for signifying 2 years. And that's it, right?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, it's moved and seconded. All in favor of approval for the gift solicitation waiver for the Mayor's Back to School rally, signify by saying aye, subject to the amendment as discussed. Aye.
Aye.
And Ms. Penny, if you'll allow me, and this is Arnold Sampson, would you, when you go back to the other stakeholders in this, would you tell them that you valiantly and with the sharpest possible clause made the ethics board, or encouraged the ethics board to consider 2 years, and that and you convinced us to do it, and you were amazingly heroic in doing that. Would you mind telling them that, please?
Thank you very much. I will tell them.
It's
Okay.
on, so be careful.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you,
All
everyone.
right. Thank you for being here. We appreciate it.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much. Take care,
Have a great
everyone.
day.
All right, bye.
All right. That's the extent of our new business today. Does anybody have any problem with adjourning the public session?
None whatsoever.
No.
All right. We'll go ahead and adjourn the public session. Thank you for joining us. It's 3:03 p.m. Okay.
We hear that magic word, the recording has stopped.
Yeah, or the notification of my phone anyway.